I was just about to say, Jason, I almost didn't recognize you without the.
Okay, I think that's only bots left.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Hooray, Happy New Year.
Yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you, Dale. Good to see you.
You. Hey, Ben.
Welcome. Bill, the real Bill. Hi, Greg. Hi, Gary. Great to see you. Dr. Scott. And
Okay, you
Morning.
waited until we get on the call. Now you want snacks? You gotta wait, ma'am.
hi, Alex. Welcome. And Scott. Good to have you with us. All right. Okay. Well, we're gonna let some more folks in, but I'd love to just start it off. I mean, by saying Happy New Year, everyone. It's great to kick off 2025 with you. Um, but looking forward to today. We'll talk about the year ahead. Last call, I wasn't able to attend, but we talked a bit about the year past, and I know a lot of us are thinking about this time of year. If you haven't already, reflecting on the last year and then what's coming ahead. We want to do that a bit today with around AI, and we'll talk about kind of what 2025 might be bringing. So I know that there's a lot of good newsletters and reports and New York Times and whatever newspaper you're probably reading, if you still read one, has made predictions about AI in the future. So I think that'd be a good topic for today. But also want to get into how like applied to the attributes. I want to get a pulse from everybody on how active they are in thinking about attributes in their work and their businesses. So we'll touch on that. How are you applying attributes? Are you trying to bring them into your business, into your personal lives and what you're doing, and how are you applying AI to them? And so we'll kick it off from there. And I want to do we'll do a few breakouts, like as what I want to do is like have the conversation. I'll pose a question, say like, what do you want from 2025? And how can the working group empower you to achieve your goals in 2025? How can AI help you achieve that? And I want everybody to write about that a little bit. So I'm just planting the seed now, but we'll take time for this in about 30 minutes after the news and the updates and so on. And then we'll go into breakouts randomly assigned, just so you can have a conversation with two people or so, two or three people in a room to talk about that. And we'll come back and share. And then we'll go back into the breakouts again to talk about the attributes and how are you using attributes, how are you using AI to help build the attributes in your business, etc. What do you envision? And then we'll come back and share again, and then we'll go into our other breakouts depending on the time. So I just thought that'd be a good way to kick off 2025, so we can get really, clear, help each other out, think about things maybe in a different way if you haven't thought about it, a certain way you get feedback, and we'll share with the whole group. So that being said, that's kind of the idea for today. But I want to start it off by just opening up the floor to hear, how was your holidays? What are some things? Maybe you had some breakthroughs already, the beginning of this year, but just a general conversation about new discoveries and breakthroughs so far around AI. And I'll stop there and open it up.
Don't be bashful.
And one quick thing to interject.
Yes,
Since I'm going to be discussing some of the professional predictions on AI, if
yes.
you have any predictions that you think might happen this year, before we announce what the professionals say, it'd be cool to hear what you guys are thinking, what's happening before we get to hear what their thoughts are.
I'll share a quick win because Layla actually she said it was a win for her this morning. So if you're watching videos and your brain's going too slow, like if you're listening to old country and you're like 2x is not fast enough for it to be worth my time, the Chrome extension, it's called hang on a minute. Why was it not video speed controller? And you can go beyond 10x on a YouTube video. So it just literally, if you put that Chrome extension in, up in the top left-hand corner, you'll see the little faint 1. When you highlight that, it gives you the controls, and you can watch a video at whatever speed your brain can handle it.
And so far, because Jason only shared it with me this morning. So far I could go to 5.6 and be comfortable. So I'm curious to see how much further I can push it.
Wouldn't that
Before-
depend on the video?
No,
That's
it's
great,
not
just
for
what
me.
I need.
Really?
Not
Interesting.
not for me. Only if someone has a strong accent, I have to take a moment to understand their accent for like a minute or two prior, and then I could be at whatever speed I'm at and be fine.
Interesting.
Daryl, your hand is up. You have a prediction or something to share?
No, but as far as Happy New Year to everybody, I wanted to share some personal experience. And this goes out to Francis. A special shout out to him for doing this on a personal level. I would like to encourage everybody to please do not let AI take over your mind. Keep it as a tool. You know, it takes someone else to show you that, you know, you're going out of the box. So I really appreciate Francis for coming out. You know, it took me down a path that I should have been going. And, you know, I just wanted to say, you know, thank you to Francis and also, you know, encourage everybody to not get into the FOMO of it all.
You know,
Good
I would
share.
take that a step further.
That's a very good point.
I would take that a step further and say let's not AI get into and take over our collective minds. You know, our culture is really screwing up the planet and society, and we have an opportunity with the most powerful tool ever in AI, and right behind it, you know, quantum computing, that we can enhance our consciousness collectively, and we need to do that. So I hope we can keep that in mind. That's my focus. So
But we also know that that we cannot form the negative of an action. So instead of talking about let's talk about what we're going to do with AI. All right.
Nice.
Let's be action oriented, and
Right.
we define the narrative. Right?
Go forward.
So maybe a prediction for 2025 is that we turn the corner and we stop talking about it in terms of in the negative and more in the positive. How can we frame this conversation and be leaders in this conversation?
Only thing I would add in is that you know, even though we're doing some useful things with AI and we think we're being, you know, really productive with AI and building tools and things like that, we're still kind of playing, you know, and it's we've got to get beyond that playing, and I think you're starting to see that in the large consulting companies now. The whole business is going to change for them. You know, it's not what a lot of the content that large consulting companies provide to their clients and all that kind of stuff. The clients will be able to do a lot more of that, or else be able to do it with another. So my, you know, even though we think we're doing lots, I think we're really just playing still, and we're testing things out, and we're starting to see some value. I'm just speaking from my experience to date as well, and I've done a lot of things. You know, as I mentioned last week, I was doing some things with in the ecosystem space. But what I've done now is I've actually been able to use AI to all of those canvases that you've seen, the business model canvas, value proposition canvas, yada, yada, yada. There's so many of them. So what I do now is I've actually built through software composition, I actually have built tools that will create the canvases, the visuals as well, of the canvases, and take the information from AI sources to actually fill in the details for an initial version of those canvases. So it's pretty cool, but that's kind of my attempt to sort of go beyond the playing and try to get into some sort of you know, something more meaningful, more valuable that will actually really change the world of consulting.
That's great, Bill. Thank you. And again, if you could share anything you've been working on publicly, are written about. Drop a link in the chat. And Priya, you raise your hand while Bill was sharing. Please go right ahead.
So people were asking about AI, and I think, well, I've been doing this over the last year, and I think it's extremely effective. But to actually use AI to not to try to change the world outside of you, change yourself. So have your own personal goals. What do you want to create? And use AI because you know the outcome. And if you're not moving towards the outcome that you desire for yourself, you can adjust it. But use AI to change yourself because everyone's trying to change everybody else. If we change ourselves, if you want to save the planet, change yourself to reduce consumption. And use AI to help you identify all the ways you can reduce consumption and do it on repeat until you're using as little as humanly possible. And watch yourself instead of trying to change everybody else. So that's what I want to say, because I find it's extraordinarily effective with respect to doing that.
Are you talking about a specific tool there, Priya?
Use anything. Use ChatGPT. You can use STS. Like STS is really great if you want to sort of adjust and refine, and then rerun the prompts and get the outcomes that you want, and then keep adjusting and refining and getting new feedback on adjusted outputs, and then you can actually change the way you adopt. So your input changes, which will change the output, which will help you adopt your behavior. Adopt. I have not been able to figure that out for the last week. But yes, so you can use any tool, but if you want to sort of do those refined edits, yeah, I would try whatever works, but use it to change yourself. That's my main goal. Oh, comment.
Love it.
To just Francis, you'll go up in 1 second, but just to put a little piggyback on what Priya just said. I don't know if you guys are all familiar with the one thing methodology. I used AI to craft a one thing methodology, essentially GPT for myself, so that every project that I'm working on, or everything that I have going on in my life, I can run it through that and it tell me what the next best step for me is to be as productive as possible with that thing. So that's one of the ways you can improve yourself using AI. So Francis, you're up.
Thank you, Leila. And just to riff on Priya and Bill before, my prediction for 2025 is that the smarter and most knowledgeable people are the ones who are going to make the best use of AI. And so don't use AI as a shortcut to doing your own learning. And I've had a personal experience, so I consider myself a relatively decent programmer. And the new development environment I'm using has now this AI Copilot that is amazing, and it saved me like 15 minutes on a job because it provided me like what looked like perfect code, better than I anticipated, but it was just a little bit wrong. Just enough so that I lost half a day tracking down why it was wrong and what was going on. And the main reason is that I trusted the AI instead of learning what the language feature that it was using. So we have to learn. And if I had known that language structure that AI was suggesting, or taking the time to understand what it was suggesting me to use, I would have saved a lot of time. So the smarter we are, the more effective we're going to be using AI. And I just want to do a shout out to the entire working group community. You guys have been amazing for STS. We have a great thing in stores. We're working on an exciting new release in January, and really appreciate all of your support. Last month, we gained one more paying customer and one more investors from the community. So very excited, very, very grateful. Thank you all. You're fantastic.
Rick, you're up.
I have to be brief because I'm actually at work and I'm going to have to go off see a patient in a minute. Somebody didn't show, so I popped in. I want to focus on the positivity. AI it's the good, the bad, the ugly, and we're not focusing enough on the good. And the thing that I've been working on for some time is the whole notion about how to co-create human AI synergies, where we are the agent to the AI agents. We're still the masters, so to speak. We're not going to let it master us. And I've been playing around with Perplexity AI, lots of different ways of how to do promptings and whatever. And I've put a post in there, which I've called Happy Neo Learning Year, which you can take a look at. And it's quite complex. I had somebody look at it and he says, oh, I don't, he just couldn't comprehend it. And I think there's a real reaction against AI that we have to overcome to enable people to say there's an amazing opportunity to do what Priya was talking about. It's both inside and outside work. You have to do the inside work of how to change your own metacognition, meta-learning, yada, yada. It's an amazing tool to facilitate that. But at the same time, if we're transforming mindsets, we also have to learn how to redesign our systems. So it's both and. And I did notice Dave put a little plug in there for some work that he can help Priya with. I think there's just an incredible opportunity, and I've been thinking deep for this for some time. And everything I'm doing, I'm sort of giving away free. I'm going to make this all available because, make it very inexpensive. I want to blow up the consulting model because I think there's too many impediments to be able to do this effectively. So that's my New Year's resolution, is to provide learning opportunities that enable people to use AI in ways that change their mindsets, in ways that can change the systems. And then over to Cameron. And I have to go shortly.
All righty, and thank you very much, Rick. Well, I would say my prediction for 2025, just looking at the state of where agentic AI is right now, I think this has the potential to be a very transformative year. So currently we have AI agents out there right now that are able to, take an input and then complete tasks. I think that we're likely going to see the widespread adoption of AI agents across a lot of different parts of the industry. I'm sure you may have seen a commercial on TV about something having to do with one of Google's AIs that says, in the context of going through a drive-through, it says, "What if you didn't have to say repeat that, or could you repeat that, please?" Now that commercial is kind of pointing or kind of poking at this possible future that I'm thinking of that could happen this year, of many jobs unfortunately getting hit by this new wave of agentic AI, because there's already been many jobs like in the art fields and that sort of thing that have been hit. But I think specifically the customer service field and several other like tech support, listening and responding, a lot of those jobs are probably going to get hit by AI agents. So that's one potential thing that could very well come to pass. But I also think education about the creation of AI agents. If we're smart as a species, we could make that widespread, because fine-tuning LLMs to create sort of the little individual pieces of an agentic mind, that's one of the easier things to do in the machine learning space. So that's something that we could very easily start spreading, some knowledge that we could very easily start spreading to the world, to sort of open the door to people who haven't worked with these tools before and give them kind of a foot in the door with sort of how to train their own AIs. Let me see. And the last thing I definitely think could happen is I definitely think that we could start seeing the first vestiges of Sam Altman's level 4, because we're already sort of, got our feet in level 3 right now with agentic. I do think that we could start to see innovative AI start coming out by the end of the year, or AI that basically are agents that intelligently come up with problems that they observe in the wild and attempt to solve them without the aid of a human telling them, "Hey, could you solve this problem?" That's it for me.
That's great, Cameron. Thank you for all that. Rudiger, we'll go to you and then Dave, and then we'll go to the news here in just a second, which we'll talk about some of the other predictions that were made. So Dave, over to you. Thanks.
Yeah, my thought is people in this group are kind of on the leading edge of learning all this stuff. We were talking about, how much we're going to use it in things like that. But we're all kind of on the leading edge. What shocks me is how many people I talk to just in regular life who have absolutely no idea what's coming. And these are smart, intelligent people doing jobs, real jobs in the real economy right now. And they don't see anything coming. I'm like, well, how do you use AI for that? And it's like, oh, yeah, that's AI stupid, or, that'll never work. And I'm like, oh man, there's such a big percentage of the planet that is not ready for what is coming. And I just think we have an advantage, but we need to bring in all the resources that we can, maybe into this group, maybe some other forum that we can continue to share and learn all through the week, even though once a week with you guys is great. So that's it.
Whitaker, you're up next.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I do not really have a prediction for this year, but something which concerns me, and then obviously think about how we could use AI for the greater good. Just keep in mind, we currently have upcoming elections in Germany, and we observe a lot of, well, I would definitely call it interference from some well-known billionaire in our politics. And obviously, once whatever has been sent is out, then whoever listens to that and does not reflect on that buys it, and that definitely has an influence. And that could eventually even, and that's just a European perspective now, even destabilize Europe. And don't get me wrong, particularly an American group, right? But if there's one thing that Russia, China, and US from a government perspective probably have in common is a strong Europe is that really on their agenda. For us, it is an issue. And the reason why I bring that up is if I have a wish for AI is and all those tiny little agents out there and doing good, then what I would love is whatever that army of agents could do at some point in time, an instant, intelligent, smart, well-educated response to all the bullshitting that is coming around, so that we really come back to critical discussions, that we separate facts from opinions. I hate the word alternative fact that it was even invented in the first place. So I would love to come back to such kind of a dialogue, and that it is done in such a way that we in particular also win over those people who really lack that kind of skills, because they also are entitled to vote. And it's not, for me, it's not about doing blame games. On the contrary, it's really coming back to more reason, empathy, and these kind of things. And obviously, that's pretty pressing for us right now, since with just a few weeks to go. I don't know if that is possible by then, but that's what's on my mind. And ourselves, I'm talking about Sustainable Growth Associates. I mentioned last time the whole topic about whole system thinking and sustainability. What we try to do, as a matter of fact, is we do, for quite some time, we've done one recording after the other of the stuff that we've came up with in the last 10, 15 years. Use a smart prompt to translate that into a curated version that is supposed to serve as the foundation to do, for example, what I just described, like use that foundation, take that post on LinkedIn or whatever, and give a well-educated response on that shows, let's say, really creates value in the dialogue, and that's at least what we try to do. That was a little long. I hope that was helpful, but at least I wanted to bring up the concern that I personally have from this side of the pond.
That's definitely something that is going to be a part of our lives ongoing for some time. Throughout history, they have had moments where different levels of propaganda in whatever form it was at that time in history. I don't know that there's ever going to be a time where there is a huge swath of people who are paying attention to all of the things, because it's so much easier to not be that way. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the solve for that is, especially we can't do it in 2 weeks, but Jesus can help. But because that's gonna be a little rough one. If we just had to count on ourselves for that. So, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. Anybody else had anything else to say before we go to the news? Okay, let me pull up let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Oh, Layla, can I share an update really quick
Sure.
before we go into that? Yeah, so something that's exciting in my life is I started working with someone named Sura, who leads the meditation coaching program that I went through. And her and I were exploring how might we use AI to make meditation coaching a household name. So I think this is kind of interesting because she's someone who's hasn't used AI before, and but she leads this big program, and yeah, so that's what we're exploring. So I'm pretty excited about that.
What is her experience with using AI for the first time? How is she reacting to it since we're so used to being in it? We don't really see
Yeah, I
the
did I did a session with her where I like showed a bunch of the tools that I've been using and developing, and like her mind was just blown like over and over again. She was like super skeptical like at the beginning, and then like every time I showed her something, she was like, "Wow, whoa, yeah, people could really use this." So, yeah, she was like, yeah, it took like a while to even like get the meeting with her. But then once we did, she was like, "Wow, we should have been talking way earlier."
That's very good, very good feedback. Okay, so was that all you needed to say, or?
Yeah, that was the announcement. Thanks.
Okay, cool beans. All right, so the news for this week, we're going to keep it simple. As we know, we have Matt Wolf's update, right? And so first big thing is AI officially made their announcement that OpenAI has officially made their announcement that they're going to be converting to a for-profit company. There's opposition, as we all know, to that. We knew about Elon Musk before. Jeffrey Hinton has now started speaking about his thoughts about that in a more vocal way. I don't know if there's anything that can actually be done to stop that from happening, regardless of what people's thoughts are about it, because yeah, I don't see it personally that there would be like, oh, you know what, you're right. We should stay in the non-for-profit zone. I don't really see that, but I mean, it's possible. Um, Meta was planning to release all of those AI generated characters, and they made that announcement. They started to get a lot of pushback, so I think that they might possibly be pulling them back. I think they actually did pull them back, but I don't know if that's just temporary or for go ongoing, like if they're scrapping the program as a whole. So that's what the updates are. Of course, you guys can see that there's some other things, and you can. I'm trying a new summary thing, so this is just one of the versions. Um, it's shorter so that you guys can kind of just absorb the information a little bit better. So you can let me know if what you think about that. CES is going to be starting tomorrow. There's going to be lots and lots and lots and lots of announcements pertaining to that, but we'll cover all of that in next week's discussion. Now, these are the AI, the predictions by various people, right? So first, there is predictions from, no, this one isn't from Goldman Sachs, but this is just a reporter talking about all of the different things that she has heard in regards to how AI will be moving forward in 2025. So of course, we agents is definitely going to be a huge thing. So Cam, of course, you're right about that. How that is actually going to, how big a deal that's going to be. I think it's going to be huge, but huge under what scale now? Because now the bar that AI sets and pushes forward, right? So it sets bars and then pushes that bar forward so much further than we could have imagined before. So I don't know in the scale of huge, how huge it will be, but I think it will be one of the top 3 to 5 things in AI as a whole, for at least the next 2 years, in my opinion. But we'll see, because somebody can come up with something that we hadn't even heard of yet, and so that's where that is. But based on what they're saying, is there's going to be lots of technological leaps because of reasoning, etc. So we'll see how things shake out. But at the end of the day, we have to be in perpetual learning mode at all times. At all times. The days of not moving in that direction. So, Dave, we could be one of those people who have no knowledge of AI, right? And have no concept of what's coming. But those people are really setting themselves up to be in a back foot for a long time if they don't wake up to what is possible, right? As for us, the people who I would call on the leading edge, the people who are following AI on a daily, weekly basis, there's never going to be a moment where we can sleep going forward where AI is not going to be making some sort of radical change or advancing things in some way that we didn't know about the day before, right? So going forward, we have to be in a learning first mode at all times. That's my opinion, right? Now, I wanted to throw in some cybersecurity trends for 2025 because we know about the deep fakes and all of those things that are impacting deepfakes, misinformation, all of those different things that are impacting elections, impacting people as far as phishing and conning people out of their money, etc. Right? Those things were already heightened because of AI. Going forward, I think we have to bake that into the cake. I don't know how to. I don't know, especially if the next move is quantum, I don't even know what possible solution you could have because it can investigate all of the avenues in the blink of an eye. So I don't know what we're going to do about cybersecurity, but we have to be keeping that in our forefront of our mind and making sure we're putting whatever the most recent measures, because it's almost like it's going to be AI bad actors versus AI good actors fighting against each other, and who will win in the moment, right? So we have to consistently be keeping this front and center. How are we protecting the data, the people's information from attack, from misuse, from neglect and just being blasé about it? We cannot be in that state at any point in time. This is a fundamental shift that we have to make in life, and we have to be constantly thinking about how to protect people's information to the best of the abilities at the time that we can, right? That's just that is just the way life has to move going forward. Litecoin, they had a few predictions. They're thinking AI may possibly win another Nobel Prize because it won 2 already. And they're thinking that maybe it might win 1 more, but they're not sure. They think crypto is going to go potentially mainstream this 2025 year. So we'll see how that works out. And then, of course, because of Elon and naming Doge, that new Department of Government spending, that is going to influence Dogecoin. And so they're thinking that that's a possibility. And so we're in an exponential phase of life, right? We are all in OpenEXO, so we all are aware of what exponential steps look like. Because remember when they said that, anybody taking 30 linear steps in any direction, you can see where they are. 30 exponential steps is like 26 or 27 times around the globe, right? No one can predict that. So we have to be in this very fluid, ever evolving phase so that no matter what happens, we can be as prepared as possible to withstand that, to go through that. Now, in regards to tools, I thought that I would bring up some interesting ones. So, Rick, if you're still on, there is this thing called VokeAdapt. It is a AI that adjust your content to any reading level that or any level that people need it to be. So whether that be that they're using it for learning a new language, or whether they need it to help them, like for instance, if they're reading some paper that is way above their head, they could use this to automatically adjust that information so it tells it to them in ways that they can understand. That may be very interesting for you, especially given the feedback that you'd received from that person. You could possibly tell people about this as you're sharing your information so that you have the ability to make sure that everyone can understand your program, or anyone who needs people to understand. We all know that the 8th grade level is using big words for the sake of using big words is nonsensical. Let's just put that out there, right? People who are speaking above people's level just to hear their own voice is kind of silly, considering that communication requires both people to be able to understand what's being said, right? So just putting that out there in the world, right? Making sure that whenever we are talking to people about AI, we're not just trying to razzle dazzle them with words about, what's going on so we can sound smart, but we also make sure that they can get the information that they need out of it, right? So talking to people in a way that is comfortable for them, and maybe one click above so that they can then aspire to know a little bit more is probably the most helpful thing for us to do when communicating AI as a whole, right? This is a tool that allows you to work with AI agents. Being that AI agents is the way of the world, we're going to see lots of tools in regards to this. This is another one for you guys to consider, because no tech skills are required for it. Visionary allows you to get feedback on your products that you are making, whether that be software, etc. It collects it, it analyzes it, it makes sure that you know what the next step that you need to do based on priority and all of those types of things. I thought that was cool for people here. And then also this one, Cure AI, has access to the 26 million medical published articles. So Dr. Thomas, anybody, Dr. Scott, anybody who wants to learn about what's going on in the medical space, whether it be to help themselves or to help their patients, this may be a good way for you to harness all of that AI information as far as on the medical side. And then the last but not least, there's a few things here in regards to redefining work for in the age of AI. He used a popcorn analogy, which I thought was actually a really good analogy, because when you're making popcorn, especially on the stove, there's a chunk of time when you don't really think anything much is happening, and then it all happens at once. I thought that was a really great way to explain how AI has been moving. So that was a pretty interesting article. This one is about the ethics of AI, and he's talking about it not just about the ethical side, but also about the common sense side that is required. Rudiger, you know what I mean? People don't really have the common sense that we thought that they had or should have. And so maybe we have to teach common sense to people. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, but we should try. And then this is about the team behind DeepSeek, which of course we weren't here last week. DeepSeek came out, huge steps for China in regards to a real challenge to the big models that we have here. So this is about the team behind them and kind of their thinking. And then they also created a brain computer, not DeepSeek people, but in China, they created a brain computer interface that allows people to think and control their computers. And so I thought that was interesting too. Okay, so thoughts, comments, what do you got?
Okay, I want to, for what you are saying, what I think that it will be a very good idea is to do like a matrix about us, who is specialized or who knows. I know about Notebook.LM, who knows Perplexity, to make like a matrix of everyone, what are the best skills of every one of us, so we can learn more about each other. That's a suggestion.
I like that. I think it makes sense. We can if we have questions, we can reach out to people who have who are on that list.
And also to validate it, to validate
Yeah.
it a little bit, yes, because sometimes maybe we think, or I think that I am very good at that, but maybe we need a little bit of validation about each other, no? So we can improve. That's what I think. And also, not only for it could be also not only AI, it could be also like blockchain or some exponential technologies, no? Like that, no?
Layla, you're muted at the moment.
Why do in 2025, I am praying that I learn to use my unmute myself. It happens like all the time. Catch a clue, woman. Catch a clue. Anyway. Anybody else have any additional thoughts that they want to share, or questions or comments about the news or anything else?
But I was muted.
Oh, sorry.
The only one, thanks so.
Priya, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just saying I really like I like Miguel's idea, but I also think like just a group product demo, if someone's an expert in an area, I like the idea of whenever we get the group product demos, they're great. And might be more efficient than 2 people and 2 people and 2 people, etc.
So can you elaborate a little bit more about what you mean, Priya? What do you envision?
Just, if someone's an expert at Notebook LM, they do, a 20-minute demo of Notebook LM. If someone's an expert with some other tool, they do a 20-minute demo. So whoever is really familiar with a tool, they just get about 15, 20 minutes to demonstrate to the group. And if somebody in the group happens to have additional insights on that tool, then they can say, you can also do this with that tool. And then we'll all be educated.
Now, what I understand, Priya, is that over time we can make like a group that knows knows all of the things of Notebook LM. It's not only one person, just like 3, 4 persons that knows one thing, like Notebook LM, or maybe blockchain, or like to make like specialized groups of every tool. That will be awesome, I think.
We have to stick to the use of the word tool. It's great to sort of get product and tool demos, but it's better to get sort of solution value creation demos versus product and tool demos. You use the products and tools to create value and make an impact, things like that. So I just don't want to get too into the trenches of technology.
Yes, but I agree with you, but sometimes we have to, like, if you use ChatGPT, how to use the memory function, something like that to get a little bit deeper, or use Playground, something like that. Sometimes I think that if someone's use it, you can have, and you have a need for it, then now you can go and find someone, like someone is very good with Perplexity. I don't know anything about Perplexity. I just have, so if someone have some more uses of or more knowledge about the tool.
Yeah, I'm just coming back from the point I made earlier today that we're doing a lot of playing with tools, and so it's like we got to stop playing. We got to sort of create value and make an impact. So that's kind of my leaning now. That's last year was my year of play with AI, and and I've done a lot of it. This year, for me, 2025, I want it to be of creating value and making an impact with AI. And so I'm not arguing against you. I think we just slightly rephrase it and say that the application of AI products and tools to create, for creating value and impact.
Okay, but we can do both. We can.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Put an example, and just like I was thinking, like the points, like ChatGPT, we have this, we have the memory thing, we have this, and then an example of use case, and 2 or 3 people that know all of this. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Basically, use cases using a particular tool or a set of tools.
Okay, perfect. I think. Okay. Also, I have to go. Have a nice day, and I see you next time. Goodbye.
Oh, see you, Miguel. I said that on mute again. Sorry, Dan, you're up.
So yeah, first of all, sorry for the video. Somehow I got very unstable today. And first of all, thank you, Leila. It's always amazing to share that. One thing I want to bring up is probably a thought. Maybe somebody here like Bill that you think a little bit bigger, strategic, high level. And what the heck's going to happen with our knowledge, right? When we analyze knowledge because of AI and other excessive information out there, the transient knowledge. So we can pick up any information, any knowledge at any time, and then we forget about it. How is that? How the heck are we going to address that? I mean, I'm doing it. I eat stuff very, very fast, and most of you know. And then, damn, and then I forgot about it. Then so just a thought. So
Yeah, I'm going through the same thing you are. It's as far as I've been a big collector of books, and thank God 10 years ago to ebooks, so that I could actually convert them into PDFs and put them into the extensions to large language models, and that gives me access to that knowledge. But the one thing Francis made a point earlier in the meeting today about keep on learning, and it's just like what AI is doing to me is it's actually allowing me to cheat a little bit on the learning. Cheat a lot on the learning, but I don't think I'm learning as much. I think I learned more when I did it to the traditional way, where I read things and tried things and all of this. Now with AI, it can tell me most of what I need to know, and I can actually learn from the trying to implement whatever I'm trying to implement with AI. But that sense of that knowledge base, I used to have maybe this is part of aging as well, but I used to have this large knowledge base in my head. Now I've got a good personal knowledge management system that I use on a daily basis, and I actually extract out of the personal knowledge management system into I have a personal GPT where I've actually I take everything out of my knowledge base. I used OneNote for years, and I've used Notion for the last couple of years. And I've actually written software composition using AI. I've written tools to extract out all of that knowledge and put it into my personal GPT. And so I can actually sort of hit my own GPT about what, it's got a sort of a good idea of what my personal knowledge base is, and then it'll extract out from the larger side as well. But I really feel like I feel like I'm not as smart as I used to be. It's just, but I can also be much smarter with AI.
Bill, I'm sorry, but that sentence you're just making proves that you are a lot smarter than you used to be. That's the first step. But no, but more seriously, I think there's something going on, right? So AI can make us lazy, and I've seen many people who just use AI to get out of doing, like, putting in the work. But I also think that we've been talking in education and cognitive science about experiential learning for a long time, and AI gives us that at a scale that was never possible before, right? So there's a lot of temptation to go the easy way, but if you do put the work, and I know you are, in effect, it supercharges your learning, because you're learning differently. You're not learning the way you used to, that's for sure, but you're still learning. It's just different, and we need to embrace that and get more proficient at leveraging that new opportunity.
Okay, I have lots of thoughts on this, but I don't know if it's fair, my thoughts on this, because I don't forget what I learn at all. Like, I don't forget what I read. Not to say that I have like a photographic memory, but I could tell you what socks a person was wearing in a book that I read 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So I don't know how fair this is, what I'm about to say, because I cannot separate how I have been from how everybody else could be. Stop scanning people. We all know people who pick up a piece of paper and they're just scanning, like looking at one or two words. Read things. Because if you read things, you take it in. You know what I mean? Like, remember what the day that I was showing you guys about how when I read, like Ben, remember I was saying, did you watch that video or did you watch it? Like, I watch things, I take notes. Like, I take in information in a real way because I don't want to be cheated. Remember the movie WALL-E when all the grown people were like essentially wearing baby clothes and like and like didn't know how to do basic stuff anymore? If AI is going to be the ability to superpower ourselves, we can't superpower ourselves by cheating ourselves while we do it, right? So read the things. Look before you just dump it into AI, look at it for real, take it in for real, understand it for real, so that when you are using the AI with it, you actually know what it says. You actually know what that thing meant when they said that, and you also know what is missing when you see that summary. You're like, oh, yes, I see the summary, and that's great, but they also didn't mention these 2 points, which is actually relevant to what I'm trying to do, right? So I want us to not be intentionally lazy when we are taking in this information and using it with AI. Like, our brains are great and it can do so much more than we are using them for. Like, we are not using them to the maximum capacity. And I don't want you to like blow your brains out as far as like make yourself uber tired by all of the information. But every day you can get a little bit better about how you personally process information. All of the things that I know about learning and reading quickly and all of those things, I'm not a genius. Like, I learned how to do those things. I read a speed reading book in 3rd grade, but then I also did speed reading books after that. Like, I took speed reading lessons after that. So that's why I can read a novel in 2 hours or 3 hours, right? But that's not because Jesus like sprinkled fairy dust on me. Like, I taught myself how to process information better and faster. And the fact that we have this thing that can make us all so much, like, we have access to all of the information of the world practically in our fingertips. Don't let that allow ourselves to be dumb at the same time. Sorry,
Leila,
a little bit of
let's just very quickly, what you're preaching to the choir, but here's the problem. The world out there, especially the kids, right, that have a lot of this access, how do you preach that gospel that you just said, Leila, since you brought up Jesus with the sprinkling, the gospel of learning into this world that we have today, where people are going to do, I don't have a solution. I'm just saying, hey guys, we got a problem, and we're a think tank here, and we may have to address this, right? So thank you. I'm gonna stop.
So the answer to that question is for all of the people, like, I have 6,000 books on my Kindle. I cleaned it up a little bit, so there's only 6,000 now, right? I have 6,000 books on my Kindle. I've read the vast majority of those books, but I go everywhere with a book. I teach little kids when I'm around little kids, all the little kids in my family. I tell them and teach them that the book is cooler than the movie, so that they are interested in what is said on a written page, not just what somebody processed and information and gave to them. Because with a book, your imagination comes into play. With a movie, somebody else's imagination is being presented to you, and that's fine. But you also need to know that the book is cooler, right? So that's just little things like that can help teach kids about processing of information. I showed them how to use AI, but then also let them know how they can make it more interactive for their own selves, like how to make them understand what they are knowing or learning in a better way, because they're using AI to augment them, not to replace their thinking. Sorry.
Priya.
Yeah, so I think some of this with kids is to create purposeful learning. So we have to get out of the mindset of memorization and knowledge for the sake of knowledge is something of high value. We see this often, entrepreneurs, they failed in school because they didn't understand the value or the purpose of that knowledge. And so I think a lot of it is instead of getting kids to read books and do math in elementary, like you have to understand the basics. I get that. Get them to start businesses in grade 3 and screw them up 50 times by the time they're 20. But all the things that are required to start businesses in grade 3, the learning, the math, if they can do all of that and screw up 20 times by the time they're 20, they'll know how to use AI and know how to use knowledge versus just memorization. Because that's what happens, right? We learn about history and, I still remember.
It only took me 50 years to do 25. So
Yeah, I know, right? So if you started at 3, Francis, just imagine, or grade 3, not 3. Well, you might start at 3. Yes, I think it's really about making it purposeful and guided and helping people understand. Because I always still remember one of my professors did a whole thing about Ketchikan, Alaska, and he did a dance. I cannot get that out of my head because it looks so ridiculous. But outside that moment, I was not going to remember it because I didn't care. And there's no way for me to care. And that's the challenge with learning.
To your point, Priya, in the news probably about a month and a half ago, a month and a half ago, I put in some information for a school, a private school in Texas, that they do 2 hours of AI generated learning. And the rest of the day they spend doing all kinds of different things. One of the things that the fifth graders were doing were running a real Airbnb out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had a very widely mixed education thing. All of their milestones involved all kinds of different things that use their full knowledge in a wide way. And to your point, that is exactly what all schools need to be. I don't know if we can make that happen, but it's definitely needed.
Yeah, I mean, I can see from my experience, I was programming at the age of 7. And then my family said, read the technical manual for the computer and fix everything and become tech support. And then I got bored. Killed my passion because it became a work thing that was outside my passion. And now I came back to it. But
what was your passion at the time?
Programming, learning how to program. It was not installing cables and teaching my family how to use a mouse.
Gotcha.
Boring. So that's what I mean in terms of kids. How do we understand what engages them and then work from that space?
Agreed. Gary, you're up.
I'll be here if they need me. Just
we got her changed. Marie and I did it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. So tell Marie if
Well, I'll try to make this quick, but I really agree with the value add question. How do we add more value? And I think it's through leadership, relationships, and creativity. And that's what this group is really about. The second thing I would add is this is a team sport. And I look at this group as external team members. And my prediction for 2025 is that we're going to see as much advancement with AI per quarter as we have seen over 2024. In other words, the train has already left the station. And if you don't have a position on the train, it's going to be tough to get on the train and catch up for many people. So how do we add value to those people? And I'm in a market that is being disrupted and enabled by technology. So changing the mindset, as people said, using AI, I think is extremely important in getting them to focus on this lifelong learning. So I agree with most of what's been said. Hopefully that kind of words it a little bit in my language rather than maybe what some others have said. But thanks for the opportunity to participate here.
Thank you, Gary. Love your input. Jason, last share for this. We'll go into breakouts and actually maybe continue on this very thread, but really bringing it back to our objectives for 2025 and how this group could actually help us get us there. So, Jason, over to you.
Well, besides bad grammar, what Jason is a speed reader. I never was, and after my accident, I definitely am not. However, like Priya said about the purposeful knowledge, if you think about Einstein, I don't think anybody here would claim Einstein was an idiot, but yet the guy could not tie his own shoes. The guy refused to remember his own phone number, and back then they were short phone numbers. He couldn't tie his shoes on purpose because he thought for what was in his brain, that was not purposeful knowledge. He let somebody else tie his shoes and then he just put his shoes on. At the same time, why waste his time learning how to remember his phone number when he could write it down on a note and share it or look at it? The good thing about AI is for individuals, especially somebody that's got some kind of cognitive disorder or doesn't, is the note taking is so much better. You're not having to scroll through. You can now search that thought, that one thought in your mind that triggers that whole memory that you've created in a second brain. And so that's one way that it's helping me is some of my limitations. I can now get them out of my ADHD brain, throw them in a place that I know I can come back to. And Layla, God bless her soul, has had to deal with me trying to just make my filing system make a little more sense, and she's helped me tremendously. But things are just getting better and better, and being able, just like if I'm going to watch a YouTube video, I don't care whose it is, if I don't open Snippo and open up a whole new filing system and actually grab everything about it, then it's not worth my time spending 10 minutes watching that video. And that's adding to the knowledge base that I don't have to depend on, well, this little gray matter that screwed up between my ears. I can always come back to it and find what it was that I found important about that video.
And just for the record, Einstein did stop to learn and never could get his head around quantum. So let's be young Einstein, not old Einstein.
Exactly.
I also have to jump. Bye, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Francis. Okay.
Happy New Year.
Well, this has been a very rich conversation. It's not often what you want to stay in the main room. Well, we always do, but it's we want to get into the breakouts too. But I thought maybe we could tie some of the threads that we brought up. I've heard a lot about education, adoption, empowerment, making sure that we stay, basically learning, and we're not basically giving our agency completely to AI or our intelligence. So I'm going to drop within the chat 3 questions that will take it to the breakouts, and we'll have breakouts with we're going to do like 2 or 3 people per breakout, and this is going to be an open discussion. And so this is really about your top objectives for this year, just 1 or 2 if you can just share them. How AI can help you get there, or how you'll work with AI. And the point of this is, obviously, we're here in this group. We're trying to figure out how we can leverage AI to help achieve our objectives. But we're going to get more specific with this year, but also how this group can empower or help you. So how can we start to bring in, just thinking about how the group can help, what you can bring to the group as well. These are the kind of conversations I'd like to have right now in this group, if that's okay, within the breakouts. And I know this group too, so you'll be able to add your own spin to this. I've opened up the rooms. If you are in a room with a bot and a bot hasn't joined, I will move you. I see there's already one, so I'll move Steve to another room. So just let me know. I'll be in the main room. If no one's in your room, just come back out and I'll move you to another. Okay, if you're still in the main room, I assume maybe you're stepped away from the computer for a moment. Just let me know if you need help moving into another room. Hi, Ivan. Welcome. We have gone into breakout rooms. I will drop the questions in the chat so you can see what we're discussing within the breakout rooms. Can you hear me? You're on mute in case you're speaking. Hi, Ivan, can you hear me? Hi, Steve. Was no one in your room? Okay, just unmute yourself if you're having trouble getting into a room.
Yes, actually, I came back. I was going to room 4.
Okay.
And then it didn't work and brought me back to the main room.
Okay, I'll move you to another room if that's all right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Actually, you should see a message for room 3. If you don't see that, let's see. I will move you to another room. Let's see, room 2. Hi, Evan. Room 12. All right, so hang on a second, Steve. Let's see. Okay, here you go. Hi, Evan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome. Is this your first working group? Yeah, you're muted there. Hi. Can you hear me? Okay, I need to go to room 13 as they need help there. I'll be right back.
Hey, Ben. I'm in this room, but Jake, since we started, he's got no video, no sound.
Okay.
Been reaching out to, I can't figure out how to change rooms.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. Sorry about that. Let's see. Move you here.
And the good news for today, Trudeau decided he's going to resign.
Did he really? Wow.
He's going to announce it, and he's going to resign after they pick a new leader.
Wow. Okay. How about that? Bill, let's see. I'm going to go to the news right after this meeting. Bill 3, room 3. We're in room 4, right? Yeah.
13. Yeah, room 13.
We're at 13. Okay, thanks. I think I have to. It's funny because there I see now. So I said
I was expecting to find a room menu, but it's not there now.
Okay, got you. Here we go. All right, there you go. Hi, Rick. Welcome back.
Yeah, I know. Today I'm working Mondays now, so I was surprised I was able to pop in earlier on because
that's great.
Patient didn't show, so I was able to pop in.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'd be, you know, I can't really say that I understand. I mean, I've had some experience with your program, STS, but I can't, I don't know whether there's any potential collaboration between what I was describing earlier and that program or not. I can't think of anything, but that's mine because I don't know how it could be applied, you know. So we could have we could have a conversation some other time about that. You know, I just want to plant the seed of an idea of it.
Great.
If there's potential collaboration, that's great. If not, you know, that's fine too. You know, whatever.
Yeah, well, let's do that. I'll be back in Montreal tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, later on this week, I'd love to have that conversation.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. Do you want to join? We'll just we've been in breakouts for almost 10 minutes, I think. Do you want me to add you to another breakout or?
Well, no, there was nobody there. That was the thing.
Oh, okay. I'll put you in. There's one with 2 people. I'll let you join that one. That's number 12. Okay, here we go. Number 12.
Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks.
Hi, Evan. Okay. Is your mic working? I can't hear you. You can't hear me either. You can hear me? Okay. Okay. Shoot. All right. Well, glad you could join us. You can at least listen in. We could chat on the chat. Where you calling in from? Yeah, chat if you can. Sarajevo, cool. Nice. Excellent. Is this your first call? No, right. Okay, my apologies. You're doing maybe okay. Well, maybe it's the combination of seeing you and with the backdrop. All right. Well, I'm glad you can make it. What are you working on right now? Right. Oh, your IP. Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. Okay, got it. All right. Very good. Yeah, you've been around for a long time. Excellent. Okay, cool. Well, do you want to share? I mean, like, what are you working on for 2025? Sable, working on creative diplomacy, right? PPPs and infrastructure for creative and cultural industries in your city. What are PPPs? Private public partnerships. Okay, cool. Creative diplomacy. So is that like ways for all voices to be heard, voting, like ways to make sure that there's yeah, fair representation, I would imagine. Make your voice heard, exactly. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's lots of need for that. I think right now. Okay, and so when you say infrastructure for creative and cultural industries, so helping private partnerships, public partnerships work together so that all voices are heard, probably like the private ones maybe, well, actually, I imagine both have difficulties in being recognized or known. If you're meaning by public, you mean like governments or yeah, okay, so our community organizations, that kind of thing, more or less, and then private being business. So the modus operandi, which enables creative and cultural industries as well as other sectors, is youth, peace, security 2250, or is that 2025 you mean? 2025 agenda? No. Or that's for 225 years from now. Oh. The resolution in UN. Or the 2250 resolution in UN. No. That's okay. This is cool. I am interested in this. The OSCE region. Okay. Yeah, there's more I want to know about. I'm gonna create. Give me a second as you're typing. I'm gonna also create a quick poll for the group here. So
Can you hear me now, maybe?
Hey, there you are. Cool.
This is my laptop microphone. For some reason, my headphones microphone is not working. So
Okay. No worries.
I'm in public place though, so I'm gonna be more. If you can't hear me, just say please.
No, I can hear you fine.
Yeah. So this, when I say YPS agenda 2050, the number of that 2014.
I'm losing you. Sorry. Say again.
So the resolution I mentioned that was put on in United Nations in 2014 or 2015. It was it's one of the resolutions that has and focused on to reinvigorate the youth participation in all parts of the society. So yeah, it's important to make everyone's voice heard, especially youths, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
That's my passion. Still, that's my passion. It's still my passion.
Oh, that's great. Are you like trying to leverage AI to help with your work?
Of course. Well, I am a peace builder in what would I say in all dimensions of society, but especially education, because I work at school as pianist and educator, and definitely yes, AI, because that can bridge the gap towards social cohesion. I think so strongly, especially in my region of Western Balkans. Hey, there is Jake.
Jake is a bot. Jake is actually a recording bot, so that's why he never unmuted himself.
JP.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. I should have seen that before.
No, don't worry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
actually, you and I talked a few times or like this, but maybe I don't know. Maybe you forgot.
So, when you started mentioning about the piecework that you're doing, it was ringing bells. So yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah,
I'm happy about it. It's okay.
Yeah. My life's a little bit upside down at the moment, so I'm not.
Trust me, I understand.
Oh. Hi, Cameron. Welcome back. It looked like you were in mid thought.
Oh no, just happy to have made another great connection.
Oh, excellent. Oh, that's what we're here for. Okay, beautiful. So I'd love to hear from two or three of you really quickly. How was that? Did it help clarify things? I'd love to hear what you guys were speaking about. So why don't you start, Cameron, since you made another great connection?
Yeah, certainly. So, Alex, Todd, and I were just talking a little bit. Had a great conversation about this this amazing AI-based platform that he is working on out in Toronto. We were talking about some aspects of the AI field as we're moving forward. And let me see. Alex, do you want to give a couple of bullet points about what you guys are doing? Because I don't want to say too much that's to give any proprietary details away or anything that you want me to share.
Thank you, Cameron. It's great to meet you. Yeah, we were just talking about how we're leveraging AI right now, and some of the risks that we see going forward, because things are moving so fast that everything that we're doing and developing right now could become obsolete in 3 months. And so there's a huge risk both at the front end in terms of our functionality that we're offering, and also at the back end in terms of how we develop. And so it's quite daunting to think about how in a one fell swoop, as the AI becomes more and more intelligent and capable, how it could change everything. Everything that we've developed to try to provide some functionality could be inherent in a very intelligent AI.
Great. Thank you, Alex. Good point. Blame, I'd love to hear from you. Good to have you.
Hey Ben, hi group. So we had a really great call with Jason and Dr. Shatner, and she actually enlightened me to something, because one of my biggest objectives is to complete our health clinic in Liberia, and it's a war-torn region, and I was just sharing with them about some of the challenges of dealing in that environment, and she was just sharing some really amazing things. She shared a concept of something called Doctor in a Box. And so I've been trying to figure out ways we could strategically provide not only like centralized healthcare, but also mobile healthcare more efficiently. And so she was sharing some really fascinating innovations that have come about as of late, as far as that gives a capacity not only for people to like take personal responsibility and accountability, as far as being able to monitor and get baselines of their care, telemedicine, and some really innovative ways as far as getting medical care, specifically for maternal care, like for maternal health care, for post-maternal health care, as far as women that are giving childbirth and the different issues, even going through that process, and for children, specifically for children, because we've dealt with a lot of big losses there in that case, in that village that we're working with. So that was tremendous. And Jason gives some really great insights on how we can leverage the large language models there as well to help those, even it may not be specialists, because there's the other thing is as far as the skills. So even some of the things we've dealt with the teachers, how you can upskill, how we can help to improve their abilities to provide value to the students with our school. So really, as far as war-torn regions, how we can leverage AI. So those are very helpful. Our session was really good.
That's great. I'm super happy to hear that. And if you don't mind, would you send me a message privately to connect? Because I want to connect you with a past member of this group. He hasn't been able to attend the last few months, but who's been working in an area of prenatal care. Yes. Yeah, so I'd love to connect the two of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so we just have about 5 minutes left, and what I want to do, which is the last bit of time before we, maybe last minute announcements. I'm just going to open up a quick poll here. That just as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, if you are actively trying to build EXO attributes for your business. And if you don't mind, just if so, how? And you could just keep it as a quick answer. So yes, no, and if so, how? Or if say yes, if you say no, and then you want to know more, if you want to you could use the second question as no, but I want to know what this even means. What does this have to do with what we're doing here, et cetera? Any other comments you have on it? But I wanted to keep this super simple, just to do a quick poll. If you're actively trying to build EXO attributes for your business, and if so, how? So we've gotten one answer so far. So most of you must be and are answering the second question. Thanks, Bob. I got your email. Thank you. Okay, I'll leave this open for another minute or two. But I want to say that next week we'll talk about planning for this year. So there's a lot of good AI tools out there that can help with planning and goal setting. So I want to actually do a working session next time to actually start to use some of these tools so we can help ourselves build out for planning for 2025. So if you have actively been using some of these tools, if you do this kind of work at the end of every year, you want to set yourself up for the next year. Well, I imagine that if you've been doing that for the last few years, you probably have found some new tools to help do that. It could be ChatGPT, and if so, what are your prompts? It could be you built a GPT, or maybe you found some other tools out there that are built specifically for this. So I'd love to have this as part of our discussion next week. So please, come with that in mind. Maybe if you've done something, please, if you wouldn't mind presenting next week, that'd be fantastic. With that, any announcements for last 2 minutes? Anything you want to share? Invitations? Anything you're presenting or doing this week? I'd love to hear it.
Grab your chat
and save your chat. Anybody? What are you most excited about for 2025?
Grabbing.
Well, the geek in us are going to be very satisfied.
What was that?
The geeks in us, in our souls, will be very satisfied with 25, with their level of innovation. That whatever we thought of 24 is going to be way over.
Oh, that's funny. I believe it.
I'm most excited about some of the advances with quantum computing. I'm really excited how that's going to impact the landscape. I mean, it's going to just accelerate things. So,
cool. So you're optimistic, or some folks are skeptical if this is even a thing. I guess you fall more into the, like, oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I went to TechCrunch. I mean, I talked to some of the scientists that were working some of the projects they were doing, and they were just maybe 5% of some of the use cases that they were talking about. I'm excited specifically in the health, like some of the things that can be done as far as accelerating the ability to, to have the AI be able to create solutions and identify, different scientific breakthroughs. I can see just us going through a renaissance once we start to kind of get those things lined up. I'm really excited about some of the possibilities.
Awesome. Great. So quantum, definitely hearing for this year, this is going to be a breakthrough year. Who else?
Well, I think quantum, and then also just what Elon Musk has done with his latest Colossus, the world's largest AI supercomputer, and the ability for him to actually make it even larger in an order of magnitude, which basically OpenAI said they couldn't do. And so it's, but he basically, Elon Musk created Colossus, and it's operating now, and he did it faster than anybody's ever done it before. Which is, within a 2 to 3 month period, he created the world's largest supercomputer, and he thinks he can double it in less time than that.
And it's in Tennessee.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's great.
That was big news last week.
I need to read this article to Layla's point.
If I can just add, I think that one of the things that I'm particularly excited about is humanoid robotics. Yeah. I think that's going to be a massively huge thing that's totally underestimated right now. Yeah. I am skeptical about quantum computing just because the applications are so uncertain. But it's one of those big promises like fusion. But I think humanoid robotics is going to be a game changer.
Yeah, if you watch the All-in-One podcast, you'll just love it. They talk about what they think is going to be the breakthroughs, and it's just amazing. And that was robotics, and then driving, hands-free driving, and all of that, and then just the size of what Elon has done on as well. So it's pretty exciting times.
What podcast is that, Bill, that you referred to?
The All-in-One podcast.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it comes from I think you're in near Silicon Valley.
It's not all in one. It's all in. If I'm not
Sorry, All In podcast. Thank you. Yeah, I watch a lot of stuff, so it's hard to remember the names, but it's just the All In podcast. It's a wonderful podcast. If you, it's very much a Silicon Valley type attitude, investor attitude.
Great, thank you. Thanks,
Perfect.
Bill.
All right, thank you, everyone. I need to close the room. To have another meeting to go to, but thank you so much. A great kickoff for the year. Excited for next week and the rest of the year to continue. So thank you so much for your participation, all your contribution.
Hey, thanks. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks.
Bye,
Happy
everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Cheers.